Hey everybody, it's Tony with Big T Bariatric and I'm back at you with another video, and today we're going to do a My 600 Pound Life reaction. The last reaction I did of the fat activist who kept gaining weight intentionally really disturbed me. As soon as I was done recording that video, I went in and poured bleach into my eyes.
Nah, don't look at me! But you're everywhere! Freak!
And after a few days of recovery, I'm back with another reaction. Today we're going to cover Seana from My 600 Pound Life. She had a very difficult time with her weight loss, and in fact, she ended up gaining at the end of the show. And so I thought it would be a good idea to really cover her weight gain and really discuss what it's like going through the process. A lot of you are interested in that. And using my own experiences, I can tell you why people get 600-700 pounds to begin with, how difficult it is to go through that weight loss journey, and why it is that people like Seana really fail in the end. If you could do me a huge favor, look down below and see if you're subscribed to my channel. And if you're not, hit that button for me. We are this close to 9,000 subs. I greatly appreciate all the love and support I get from all of you. Leave a like, leave a comment, and let me know what you think about this video, alright? Now let's get into it.
I hate my body more than anything in the whole world.
Welcome back to Plot Twist. Today we're diving into Volume 1 of the worst ending weights ever. Did they try on My 600 Pound Life? This time, we're diving into the stories of individuals whose journeys have sparked debates and left viewers wondering, did they really put in the effort? The stories we're looking at today are more than just struggles with weight and the physical battle that one has to put up while trying to build healthy habits.
I think this is interesting because I've heard it a lot since I had weight loss surgery, people telling me that that's the easy way out. Big T, you took the easy way out. You went and got the surgery. You didn't even have to try. Well, look at all these other patients who were on TV. They had every single reason to succeed. TLC paid for them to go to see Dr. Now. They paid for the surgery if they were going to get surgery, and they still could not overcome their demons. So weight loss surgery is absolutely not the easy way out, and I wish people would stop saying that, because you still have to have a certain amount of willpower. No doctor is just going to go in and operate on you, especially when you're that big. You still have to lose a certain amount of weight, because even doing surgery at that size is very, very risky. About a year before I had my weight loss surgery, I had my gallbladder taken out because it was causing all sorts of pain issues, and my surgeon actually told me that I stopped breathing on the table because of my size. Very, very risky and dangerous to put a fat person under anesthesia before surgery. So that's why my doctor wanted me to lose weight to get below 600 pounds before he would do the surgery. So it's absolutely not the easy way out. There's still an amount of willpower you need in order to be successful, even working with a doctor like Dr. Now.
It's a complex web of emotional turmoil, childhood trauma, and a relentless fight against their own bodies. These stories are not only about the struggle to lose weight, but also about the mental and emotional barriers that make the journey so daunting. With every step they took, every challenge they faced, the question remains, did these people truly try to change their destiny and fail? Or did they succumb to their old ways? This episode is filled with moments of truth, hard-hitting realities, and the raw, unfiltered journey of weight loss. So, if you're ready to unravel these mysterious and controversial tales from My 600 Pound Life, make sure you're subscribed. Let's dive right in. Believe me, you don't want to miss this.
That's absolutely true as well, and that's a misconception we often hear. I've had people unsubscribe from me because I sympathize with people that size. And they say, well, Tony, you're just giving them an excuse for being fat. Well, I understand why they got that fat because I was near 700 pounds myself. I probably even crossed over that threshold. Now, I understand to get that big, it usually involves an addiction, some sort of food addiction. And that addiction is used to help cover up some sort of trauma and emotional pain. Now, a lot of different people use different substances and things to help them overcome trauma. I don't know anybody who has endured trauma who didn't become a little messed up because of it, or they didn't develop an addiction, whether that's drugs, whether that's sex, whether that's alcohol. Like, people use substances to help them overcome their emotional turmoil. Food is just another one of those substances because sugar is more addictive than cocaine is. Again, I've had people disagree with me on that, but that's what the studies say. It does get you high. And so you keep going back to that food because it gets you higher and higher, and then you need more and more quantities of food to do the same as you did before. And that's with any addiction, because I also had an addiction to Vicodin. That's how it starts. One Vicodin pill because I hurt my knee, turned into 2 Vicodin pills, turned into 3. Before I knew it, I was taking 6 pills at one time because 1 pill didn't do it for me. Then 2 pills didn't do it for me, and so on. Food is the same exact way. So yeah, I do sympathize with people who do realize they have a problem, who do realize they need to change, but also they struggle in that change.
I don't want to live this way. So I feel like I'm trapped most of the time because of how hard it is to move and get around. I'm losing my ability to move and do things. And that really upsets me because I don't want to lose my independence.
I mean, yeah, that's one of the reasons why you decide you want to lose weight. You need to get help because it is fine when you're younger. It is fine when you still have some independence and some mobility. But once you get so big to the point where you lose that mobility and you're in a tremendous amount of pain and doing a small amount of work gets you overwhelmed, then you know you have a problem. Like, you should have started changing a lot before that. Like, I understand that because, again, I've been there. I know what it's like to just keep eating and eating. And even though all the warning signs are flashing red, I still kept eating because I couldn't overcome my food addiction. Then I decided to reach out for help, and that's how I am where I am today, losing 200 pounds plus. Even after weight loss surgery, I still dealt with some sort of food addiction. I had a moment of stress for a few months, going back to school, work, doing things at church. All it was very, very stressful. I didn't have the time to cook for myself. Those are all excuses, I know. And so I went back to eating the way that I did before. My stomach still held me back. I didn't eat the quantities of food, so I didn't really gain weight, but my weight loss completely stalled out for months. And now I'm back on the losing end, and I'm going to put out a video here soon that talks about where I'm at, what I'm doing right now. I'm part of a coaching program. I've lost over 12 pounds so far this year. So I'm back on doing things the right way, but even after weight loss surgery, you still need to keep yourself accountable or you can gain your weight back.
My mom hired a friend of mine, Derrickis, to be my caretaker because I live with her, but she travels most of the year. So sometimes I think about just not doing it. But then when you're big like me, and then you get blisters and sores and that can get infected easily. I hate how my life is, but I mostly just hate my body. I hate my body more than anything in the whole world.
Seana Collins has been one of the most controversial people to have ever been featured on the show.
They don't even seem human anymore. None of me does. So I don't even want to look at myself at all anymore because I'm embarrassed at what I've done to myself.
This is why I mentioned in a few videos ago where that fat activist wanted to question why we often said that fat people smell. And they seem to think, well, I take good care of myself. I take showers, I spray myself, I don't stink. I don't know where this propaganda came about that says fat people stink. Well, take a look at her body. She has all these welts and stuff all over her stomach. Those are blisters. When you have all this fat hanging down, fat rubs against fat, and then you get yeast infections, and then you get rashes that really stink, and then you get blisters and all kinds of things. All over your stomach, all over your body. I mean, you're unable to reach certain areas. You can't wipe yourself. Of course, big people stink. And then you add in there that you're unable to take showers as often as possible. I know a lot of these episodes, TLC pays them to take showers on screen, but it's really a good picture of what it's like to be overweight and to take a shower. And it's very, very difficult to do. A lot of them can't even stand and take a shower. And so this is just really goes to show how bad fat people really do stink because they can't take care of themselves and their body is just covered in blisters and all kinds of nasty things.
My life. I'm 22 years old. I should be like in college, partying, having fun, living my life, but I can't.
At the age of just 22, Seana's body is too close to collapsing because of her weight, and the young woman is tired of not being able to live a normal life.
I can't really stop eating. I don't want to because it's the only good part of my day. And I can never get enough of it. I always want something and it's like my hunger never stops.
Yeah, that's absolutely what it's like to have a food addiction, or really any kind of addiction. You really crave it from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. Even if you wake up in the middle of the night, you just realized, oh, I haven't eaten in hours, and so you want a midnight snack. And so yeah, that's an addiction. And it's hard for somebody to have the willpower to overcome a food addiction on their own. It really takes help. It takes therapy to really get in there and help you figure out why you have this addiction. What are you trying to overcompensate? What are you trying to get help for? And then when you do that, then you're able to successfully lose weight.
Seana to me is more like family than a friend, and I just want to see her happy. But every time I cook something or I help her prepare her meals, I give it to her in portions, and that don't seem like enough. She don't know when to stop.
With all the struggles Seana has to face, she turns to food to deal with just about everything. And she knows that her addiction is slowly killing her.
I always zone out when I have food. Like I'm in a trance sometimes.
And that's the problem too, is because often when you have somebody that big, you're not able to get up and cook for yourself, and you get used to getting other people to help you. So most overweight people who get to that size have an enabler, somebody who makes the food. Yeah, this friend was all like, well, I'm getting concerned because every time I make her food, it's just more and more portions, and I'm just worried about it. Well, stop giving her the portions that she wants. Is her mom paying you to give her the portions that she wants, or is she paying you to actually take care of her daughter? Like, say no. Stop from giving her all that kind of food. Stop buying her all that kinds of food. Like, you have more power than you think you do. Instead of sitting there and watching her scarf down several thousand calories at a time, say no to her. You can even walk out the door and say, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore because her blood is on my hands if she dies. And it absolutely is, because you are enabling her to eat that way. Say no, walk away, go find a different job, do whatever you can to save her life instead of giving her what she wants.
And I don't snap out of it until the food is gone. But then I just want more, so I can go back to that. I feel like no matter what I go through, food will always make me feel better. So how do you stop something that does that for you? So after Derrickis feeds me, I find ways to keep eating.
See you later.
But because Seana herself is unable to do anything, she has to ask for help when it comes to fueling her addiction.
Stuffed crust, pepperoni pizza, the cinnamon bites thing, and that's all. So I eat and try and forget about my life and all the things I've been through.
But absolutely nothing matters to her once she starts thinking of food.
I've had a really hard life. It's just been chaos ever since I was born. It's because of my dad and how he treated me and my mom. He was very verbally abusive and sometimes physically abusive. Most of the time. Because my dad had a drug problem, but I didn't know it then. As a kid, he was either screaming at me, calling me names, or hitting me.
Yeah, I've often talked about my struggles on this channel, and I know there's a lot of new subs who don't know my story, but I was mentally, physically, and sexually abused from the time I was 5 years old on forward. Different times, you know, different people my mom would date would physically abuse me or sexually abuse me or different things like that. So for me, food was sort of an escape from that. Food made me feel good. So I would run away, I'd get to hide, I'd get to eat, and that food would make me feel good. They call certain kinds of food comfort food for a reason, right? Like, it makes you feel good. You feel comfortable eating it. And so that's just really what began for me. So I learned from an early age I could keep running back to that and escaping in food, and it would make me feel better. And that transitioned to an adulthood. About 17 years ago, when my dad was killed in a work accident, I got a lot of money. And what did I do? I ate. I ordered out all the time. 3, 4, 5 times a day. I would have McDonald's, I would have Burger King, I'd order a pizza, and I would just eat. That's how I handled dealing with my father's death. And so that's when I really ballooned up from probably the mid 300s to well over 700 pounds. And then I would go and I'd lose a little bit of weight, and then I'd gain it back and lose it and gain it. And I had an opportunity about 10 years ago to get weight loss surgery, and I was just scared of it. I didn't want to do it. You know, I was thinking everything's fine. I had the attitude of a fat activist that nothing's wrong with me. I have no problems. I can still do things being fat, and people are taking care of me. And that was my attitude about it. So I only continued to get bigger and bigger, and as a result of that, I got to a point where my body couldn't handle it anymore. And now that I have grown up mentally and I am mature, I did get the psychological help that I needed to help me deal with the trauma that I went through and the trauma of losing my dad that way and being neglected by my parents for most of my life. Like my parents were very much into drugs and alcohol, so they had friends and family and stuff who they often lived with, and you know, when they didn't want me, they'd pass me back and forth. And my dad went to prison for a few years, so I lived with my mom, and my mom was poor, so we had different roommates, and you know, it was just a terrible, terrible time growing up. And so again, food for me was an escape, just like food for her is an escape from what she went through.
But Seana is aware that her addiction stems from her childhood, and it hasn't been an easy journey for her.
My mom never really knew how bad things were between me and my dad, so I just kept it to myself because I didn't want to make my dad angry. Instead, my father did things that hurt me. I would turn to food. Eating made me feel like I was going to be okay. Nothing was wrong. But eventually, my mom decided to leave my dad after a big fight.
But when it comes to Seana, I wasn't going to let him try to kill her.
Naturally, as a kid, she turned to food to deal with her anxiety and depression, and the habit has clearly carried on into her adult life.
My food addiction is killing me, and it's really scary because I'm afraid to go to sleep because of it. I just want to be a normal 22-year-old, and it sucks because I can't. It's a stupid body.
Yeah, like how difficult do you really think it is to start an addiction to something when you're a kid and then you bring that into adulthood? Like how hard do you think it is to refrain from doing that? What habits do we take on from childhood to adulthood? It's very, very difficult to give up some of those things.
Everything's getting harder and worse. And if I think about it too much and what could happen soon, it terrifies me.
Shauna's addiction to food is getting worse with every passing day, and she knows that things need to change before they get any worse.
My mom convinced me to go to Houston to see Dr. Now. But I know this trip isn't going to be easy. But I know this is important for me to do, because I don't want to live like this anymore. And I'm hoping Dr. Now can help me do that.
But accepting help wasn't easy for Shauna. Even though she had made up her mind to go and see Dr. Now, she had no idea what she was in for.
So if this truck isn't big enough, I'm not sure what my options are going to be to get to Houston and do this. Yeah, we're good.
You good?
Yeah, very basic, mundane things become very, very difficult to do. There's this place that had this truck that I was looking for and I wanted to buy it, and so I went there and the truck was unavailable. And they said, well, we have lots of other trucks in the lot. And so one by one, they kept bringing the trucks in because, of course, I couldn't go walk to those vehicles. So they kept bringing them to me, and I tried to get in each and every single one of them, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't fit inside the cab of a big truck. That was really the beginning of the end for me when I realized that I had to lose weight because I couldn't fit inside large trucks. That was ridiculous. Like my stomach would overlap the wheel and make it dangerous. Some I couldn't get in because they had the console thing between the seats, so I didn't have enough room to get in. And I definitely was not able to even wear a seatbelt. So yeah, all those things combined made it very difficult for me to even find a vehicle that I can drive. And so seeing her get into that vehicle and struggle that much to get in really reminded me of that.
Shut the door.
As long as I have food, I think I can make this trip. But I just hope the fast food places aren't too far apart on the road, because that's the only thing that's going to make this drive too much for me.
This is when you know there's a real problem. If your biggest concern about traveling across the country isn't blood clots, isn't getting in an accident, but actually whether or not there's enough fast food restaurants in between stops, that's kind of ridiculous if you ask me.
But as long as I have some good food like this, I'll be all right, and I know I can make it.
The struggle started as soon as Shauna stepped out to get inside the truck that was supposed to take her all the way to Houston. Even on her way to receive treatment, Shauna couldn't curb her addiction to greasy fast food.
Have you tried to lose weight at any point in your life?
But I just don't stay on the diets usually, honestly. Like I eat too much or I eat too little.
But when you overeat, do you do that because you're hungry or you're stressed or what?
Usually either hungry or I'm just bored or depressed or something.
Some of you might scoff at her saying, well, sometimes I eat too little. Well, you might say, woman, you haven't eaten too little probably in your entire life. But the reality is that when we do try diets, I think we do it the wrong way. And this is why a lot of people fail on their diets. They say, you know what, today's Sunday, I'm going to eat whatever I want. I'm going to have my fast food. I'm going to order my pizza. I'm going to get all my big meals. I'm going to scarf it all down. Then tomorrow, Monday, it's a brand new day. And so I'm going to start my diet tomorrow. So you go from all this abundance of food to suddenly you're just eating a minuscule amount. You start eating a couple rice cakes and maybe a boiled egg, and that's all you're going to have for the rest of the day. And that is not sustainable. I know it's a great idea to want to lose weight, but you got to do it the right way. You got to plan out what you're going to eat. You have to actually look at what's a sustainable diet for you. That's why I often recommended Weight Watchers, is because I felt that it was good. You could eat whatever you wanted as long as it was within a certain amount of points. You don't have to take out an entire food group. Even though I do highly recommend a higher protein, lower carb type diet, even that can be difficult. Your body's used to taking in all these carbs, and that's what you use for fuel. And then all of a sudden you stop doing that, your body freaks out. It doesn't have any fuel, and you have sort of the keto flu. And so that happened every single time I tried to go on a diet. Not only did my body revolt on me, it didn't like it, I suddenly decided I was going to eat very, very little. And so by the end of the first day, sometimes I'd last 2 or 3 days, but I would eventually start binging and then just going crazy on food. And then so what started out great ended up not so great. That's why I highly recommend getting involved with a therapist and also a dietitian to help work your way through. Find a coaching program, somebody who's going to keep you accountable to what you're eating, but also is going to help you eat the right stuff and do things the right way, and not just picking any old diet out of a phone book and deciding, well, I'm going to do that one. And then you end up failing.
But finally, she makes it to the hospital to see Dr. Now, and things aren't looking so good at the moment.
You need to learn how you're going to correct your eating habit. We're going to start with the 1,200 calorie a day, high protein, low carb diet.
First Dr. Now gave me with his diet and exercise on it. But I'm hoping with Haderkis is helping me, and I'm losing as much as Dr. Now told me. And I'm also trying to do walking for exercises. And I feel like that's all helping me a lot, because it's been hard.
The doctor gives Seana a plan to follow because he needs to see how dedicated she is to losing weight. But can Seana live up to his expectations?
I don't know, I kind of think she's failing already because I saw a plate full of potatoes and corn. Those are starchy carbohydrates that I don't think is on Dr. Now's diet. His diet is pretty much ketogenic. It is very high protein, low carb. And so I don't think Dr. Now is going to tell you to eat fried potatoes and corn and all these starchy foods. So it doesn't look like she's on the right track yet.
You missed your appointment.
I'm doing my diet, I think. But when I was coming back home, I lost the papers you gave me. I also stopped snacking, and I stopped drinking soda too. And I'm gonna try harder, I promise.
Yeah, that's a bad sign when you miss your appointment. You know you have not been doing good. So you are lying to Dr. Now saying, oh, I lost my paper, because you just said, hey, I think I'm doing good. Well, it's obvious you were eating starchy foods that are not on Dr. Now's diet. You got caught in that. So you're just going to decide not to go to your next appointment and get weighed because you know you haven't been doing good. Then you say, oh, I quit snacking, I quit drinking soda. No, you haven't. Come on, be honest with yourself. The only way to hold yourself accountable is to go to your appointment and step on the scale and deal with what comes next. If you failed, you failed. All right, at least go, at least know what your actions are doing to yourself. You know how much weight that you gained during your next appointment. And you say, you know what, I really failed here. And a lot of times Dr. Now is willing to help you out. Then he'll send you to therapy. Then he'll help you out any way that he can. But he often tells people, call me if you have a problem, but nobody calls him, nobody reaches out to him, nobody says, hey, I'm really struggling with my hunger. They just deal with it, and then they just don't show up for the next appointment, and that's the worst thing you can do, especially on Dr. Now's program.
Even though she is trying to improve her eating habits, it's evident that Seana's portion sizes and the carbs in her diet are far from what the doctor ordered.
I'm about to see how my weight loss did, and if my diet was enough. At my last weigh-in, I was 659. And Dr. Now changed my goal to lose 50 pounds, so I need to see a number below 609. I'm not sure what happened. I thought I was trying really hard, and that I'd have better progress.
Yeah, I don't know the goal that he gave her to lose X amount of weight in so long. It could have been 2, 3, 4 months that she's been gone. But when she goes and she's only lost 1 pound in several months, you absolutely are not doing Dr. Now's diet. Now, I think in one case it shows that you tried a little bit, because you didn't gain a significant amount of weight, which you ordinarily would have done, right? Eating what you normally ate. So that showed some sign of progress. But that many months later, you should have lost a significant amount of weight. You should have lost probably 50 or more pounds in that same time frame.
I didn't read the booklet because I lost it again.
We gave you the instruction, you lost the instruction. We gave it to you again, and you lost it the second time. This doesn't really matter to you.
If it's something as important as Dr. Now's diet, like, that's ridiculous that she lost it twice. There's no way she lost it twice. She probably threw it away twice saying, I don't want to do this. She gave up on herself, she gave up on the diet, and she wanted to go back to eating the way she did. This is a sign that it's likely that somebody else was trying to encourage her to go do this. Even though she was crying in the beginning that she's trapped in her body, she doesn't like living this way, it's very obvious that she did not want to give up on her eating habits. And so she decided, hey, I'm going to throw away the booklet. There's no way you lost it twice. Even if you lost it twice, it's freaking on Amazon. Anybody can go on Amazon right now and buy Dr. Now's diet.
When it's time to visit Dr. Now once again, it's evident that Seana has made no progress.
It's been several months since I've seen you, and you missed another appointment. So what's going on with you?
Because I have no way down there. I have no one to help me move. I have no way to go down there.
Not able to do anything to change your life. You're not going to live long enough.
I wasn't as terrible as I was thinking. I can still tell I'm disappointing Dr. Now. But I feel like he wants to help me figure out things so I can get my life together again.
And the doctor is not happy with her attitude. And while she claims that she will do better, Seana starts skipping all her appointments.
So you still have a lot to show me to convince me you're ready to do this. But because I see you trying a little right now, I'm willing to give you 2 more months to show me you can lose 80 pounds, okay?
But despite all her struggles, Dr. Now gives her one last chance.
That's disappointing. I don't know what happened, except for that I think it was a mistake pushing myself to try and find other ways to cope with things.
Girl, you're not trying to find other ways to cope. You're still turning to food to help you cope because you have a food addiction. Even after months and months, you wasted over 6 months of your own time and Dr. Now's time trying to do this, trying to lose weight, and you're not even in it whatsoever. You keep intentionally losing your diet plan. You're not really taking this seriously because you don't really want to. You're not at your rock bottom moment. Because if you were, you would be taking this much, much seriously. I know you have an addiction, but there's other things that you can do. Instead of spending all that money on food, you can get a dietitian to help you. You can get your friend who's helping cook for you and everything else, hold you accountable. How come he's gonna show up to Dr. Now's office with you and go to this appointment, hear what Dr. Now has to say, and still keep feeding you that nonsense? Like, you're absolutely refusing to take care of yourself even when you have other people helping you.
So I knew this would happen and I'm frustrated because I feel like I was going in a good direction and all that got messed up. And now Dr. Now isn't going to be happy with me again.
At the end of the day, Seana isn't able to lose the weight that she was supposed to. And after this point, she's beyond helping, considering that she has actually put on more pounds than she originally started with.
What happened last month, what happened a couple of months ago, what happened last year. We keep saying the same thing, but we're not making any progress. And we are out of options with nowhere to go with you. Because she ultimately hopes someone will come do it for her. And I think the best and only thing to do right now is to focus on psychotherapy.
Eventually, even the doctor has to give up on Seana because it's pretty clear that she just can't let go of her unhealthy habits.
This is where I have a problem with the way Dr. Now does things. And anytime I mention having a problem with it, I do get a lot of comments from people, Tony, you're not a doctor. How come you're telling Dr. Now what to do? I'm not telling Dr. Now what to do, but I think it would have been more beneficial to do that psychotherapy before trying the diet. Dr. Now's never been 600-700 pounds like I have. I understand how much of a mental battle it is. It's not just about willpower. This woman, myself included, is trying to overcome a lifetime of abuse. There's a lot of mental things involved there. I tried to lose weight on my own, using my own willpower, and I failed, and I only ended up gaining hundreds of pounds in the process. The only thing that was able to help me was not just the surgery. The surgery was just a tool, but what actually helped me was getting the therapy. I think if you are struggling to lose weight and you have hundreds of pounds to lose and you can't seem to get it, you should not be trying to do it on your own. You need help. You need your friends to help you. You need to tell your enabler to stop enabling you. You need to start taking accountability for yourself, and you need to go in and get some therapy. That's the way that you're going to be successful. Stop spending and wasting all this money on food. You can afford to go in for at least a few therapy appointments. If you are on disability due to your size, then the government can pay for that. Like, do whatever you need to do to get the help you need. Do not try to do this alone because you're only going to fail. Anyways, everybody, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. But anyways, I love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. God bless you.